Really is an honor that you're here. And before we get into kind of the good stuff, I want to introduce you a little bit to our listeners and our viewers so they understand you and what it was like to grow up in the Platt household. Can you take me through that a little bit, your childhood?
Yeah, sure. So I am born and raised Los Angeles, the first of my family to be born in LA. My family comes from all over. And I have four siblings, two brothers, two sisters. So very big family, big extended family, first cousins, second cousins. I'm tight with like my third cousins who live in Sweden. Like it's a very defining feature of my upbringing and sort of who I am is this closeness with a big family, many, many cousins, aunts, uncles, many blessings. And a big part of that also is my Jewish upbringing. I went to Jewish day school and Jewish summer camp. And it's always been very central to what my family is about and how we identify and how we live our lives. And the other piece that's always been a big part of my life and my family's life is entertainment. Specifically musical theater, really, is what my siblings and I were raised on. They call us the Von Platts because all five kids and my parents all sing really well. And we used to sing, I guess we kind of still do, at like all the family weddings and bar and bat mitzvahs. There's always a song. And we all grew up doing musical theater after school, in school, doing the choirs, just loving music, loving theater. My parents, when they met in college, part of what brought them together was their shared love of musical theater and singing. And so it was only natural that some of the five of us also found our way into the entertainment industry once we were adults. And that takes you up to, adulthood.
Right. So I'm curious, it sounds like performing was always in the air when you were a kid, but did you ever want to be something other than a performer? Like, were you like, I want to be a surgeon?
I always was a creative. I mean, like the earliest proof of my creativity was in kindergarten. As we still have the yearbook, I wrote a song and choreographed a dance for my whole class to sing thanks to my teachers called Heidi and Liz, We Can Count on You. And like the lyrics and the photo are in the yearbook. I don't know, 6 years old. So like I was always, whenever I could do a school project and have it be me making up a show instead of like writing a paper as a kid, I was always doing that kind of a thing. I was always in bands. My high school band like played all over LA, all the Hollywood clubs, Troubadour, Whiskey, Roxy, all that stuff. And then out of college, actually, the first thing I tried really to focus on was writing, which is something else I do. So I worked on a number of TV shows in writers' rooms. And, I've sold an animated show before and didn't get something made, but have developed stuff. And so it was always natural for me to be in the entertainment world. I've directed, produced, sort of wore all the hats. I just like being creative and doing a lot of things. And, I have ADHD, so it means I can do a lot of these things kind of at the same time. And I get bored doing one thing. So it's sort of natural that I'm always sort of hopping from thing to thing until of late where I've focused in a little bit more.
Right. You like to juggle a bunch of things. I like that too. What do you think your first big, like, I made it moment was? And how do you think that differs from what people might expect growing up in such a famous family?
Yeah, I would say as a performer, my first big I made it moment was one of the most consequential weeks or periods of my life, which was in the summer of 2014. I auditioned, as every musical theater actor in Los Angeles did, to be in the ensemble of the musical Hair at the Hollywood Bowl. Every year, the Hollywood Bowl puts on a musical, and they bring in stars to play the leads, and then just amazing actors to be the ensemble. And I went in for the ensemble, and I came out with one of the leads. I was the only sort of not famous big name to book a lead. And that experience, the whole thing takes 10 days. It's like supercharged theater boot camp, like to put this show up. And me being around stars like, Kristen Bell and Sarah Hyland and seeing that not only could I kind of hang with them, but I was excelling among them. I was really well reviewed in the show. I was doing amazing. I was like, wow, like I can do this. I'm just as good as anybody. And I got to perform, in my hometown for 18,000 people 3 nights in a row. And it happened to also be where I met my now wife. So it was the greatest week ever.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about your religion growing up and how you said that played a big role in your life and you went to school and did camps. I know you did religious camps, but how did it really affect you? Like, there are plenty of kids that I know that when it's pushed on them, they actually hate it. Do you know what I mean?
Totally, totally. So I was definitely, to some degree, that kid. The part that I always liked was like the family stuff. So I always loved, and as you can tell from the beginning of this interview, it's like a big association for me. Every holiday was fun because I was around cousins, I was around grandparents. There were traditions, just like a warm, fuzzy feeling. So that part of it I've always loved, and just sort of being part of the Jewish community, which is a really tight knit community. There's not too many of us. So, and part of a feature of being a Jew, and goes on to like back to the medieval ages, is like all the Jews know the other Jews in the other towns because there's only so many of them. So just being part of that community, that's also, they're like super supportive. Like if you're sick, there's like 20 people showing up with soup. It's just like a really warm, fuzzy, lovely group. But then, when I went to day school and I was in middle school, like Jewish day school, like 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I hated the like religious piece getting pushed on me. So like we had to pray every day, every morning in that school. And I was so rebellious. I had ADHD, undiagnosed at that point. I'm being told like every morning I have to repeat the same Hebrew prayers. I have to sit in the chapel. And I have to do it. And I like hated that. I graduated with 30 detentions from middle school because it's a combo of the ADHD, of me being smart and the school not always being able to sort of teach up to where I was in the class.
Yeah.
And this like rebellion against really my Judaic studies teachers in a big way, who at that time, they're much better now. And like, we've come a long way since, the late 90s in terms of this education. But in those days, at least at my school, like if you were Israeli and like you came off the plane, they're like, oh, you could teach at this school. And like, these were not holistic, like masters holding educators. It was just like, we need Judaic studies people. So like, they would bring these people in who did not know how to handle me at all. Right. And when I could sort of feel that power struggle, I leaned into it. And I got detentions for like everything you can possibly think of, starting from age 8 to age 13. They had to like make up in-school suspension for me at one point to just like get me out of the way. So there was a lot of that rebelliousness. But again, like it was worth it because of the people. And like my best friends for life are my Jewish sleepaway camp buddies. And like we all hate like the religious piece. You have a love-hate with it because like sometimes you click into some like beautiful moment and it's like, oh, this is nice. And like we're all singing there's a service called Havdalah that you do if you're a little bit more observant. Like I don't do it in my everyday life, but at this camp we would do it every Saturday as you transition from Shabbat back into the regular week, which is Saturday night. All the Jewish holidays go sunset to sunset. And it's really pretty. Like you stand outside, you see the stars, you like stand in a circle and sing this. It's pretty and nice and like communal. And like, so like those moments would be nice. And then we'd be like, okay, we have to do this other prayer thing like 3 times. And my friends and I were like, how do we ditch this? How do we like befriend the counselors so we can talk through this? Right. And it was like brutal. And it was like, the joke was like, we go for the camp for the people and just how crappy it is. We have to do all this praying. But like, those are my groomsmen in my wedding and like my best friends to this day. And like all our kids are the same age and we all live in LA and they're my boys for life. I was very lucky to find them there.